on DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good afternoon, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. DeWitt County has once again taken up the discussion of emergency sirens that are set to be decommissioned by Constellation Clean Energy. For the last few years, the county has discussed the topic of taking over emergency sirens that are currently owned by Constellation and are set to be taken down in 2027. At Thursday night's Public Safety Committee meeting, Emergency Management Agency Coordinator Will Pavlik updated the members on a meeting he recently had with the power plant.
I wanted to bring this to light here today. We had a meeting last Friday with Constellation representatives in regards to this long project that's been going on for the last, I think, 5 or 6 years now. As you all know, the sirens are being decommissioned by Constellation here in the next couple of years. It's part of some federal oversight from the NRC and FEMA to go away with sirens as the primary source for nuclear warning for emergencies. So the goal for this implementation is going to be probably at the very latest, late 2027. So we're still looking at another 1.5 years or so. The current draft is sitting at the state level. It's sitting at the IEMA director's desk, and I know Constellation had said that they're not exactly sure when it'll be approved or denied if they go that route, but it's still sitting at his desk, so it has to be approved by the state and then go to FEMA, and who knows how long that'll take. But once that gets approved by FEMA, then we will have 12 months as a county to go through the decommission process. Now, I know in the past there's been discussions about trying to see if the county wanted to keep any of the sirens. Obviously, with them being decommissioned, they're giving us the option to take them on. Unfortunately, it would be our liability, our responsibility for the maintenance, for the decommission cost, which is very costly, as I'll explain here in a second. And then just all of the upkeep, like I had said, and that will come with a lot of time and effort if the county decides that they want to take them on.
Pavlik reviewed some of the numbers for replacing the sirens that would be taken down and what the yearly cost would be to the county for maintenance as they would become responsible for upkeep of them.
I'm speaking to you guys first because obviously, the county's going to get first priority, first dibs on the sirens that they want. The municipalities, if they want to take on a siren, will also get the opportunity to. So those will be discussions I have here in the next few weeks as well. So currently, as the maps have showed, we've got 40 sirens. Each individual siren is looking at approximately $15,000 for the decommission cost. That includes taking down the pole, the siren head, the controls and the wiring, those are all factored into that cost. And so essentially Constellation, once they decommission it, will leave it up to the county, the municipality to go ahead and do what they want with it, in charge of putting it up and being able to have somebody have it be set off. Insurance, liability, stuff like that will all be falling on us as the county or the municipality. So that's kind of what we're looking at for cost. I did do some research in case there is interest in trying to keep any sirens. I know there's a couple that are part of the Federal Signal Corporation is the company. It's the 2001 series. There's different models, different variations. Those are all approximately 1988, 1990 in terms of age. And then obviously newer. That's the oldest version there is. But those are looking at, I believe, $15,000 to $20,000 to install. Obviously, that doesn't include the maintenance for that either. That's just simply the installation cost. There's another series called the 15V2T that is from the 1980s as well, 1986 to present, from Century Siren, and those are looking at, I believe, $10,000 to $15,000 for installation. The annual maintenance cost is still looking between $300 and $700 per year to maintain. I know, obviously, It's going to be a little more expensive when the battery needs replaced, which is about 5 to 7 years or so, is what we were told. And so that could obviously reach more in the $1,000 to $2,000 range. And then other years it could be less than 500, less than 300, something like that.
The committee's previous understanding was that if they were to take on the Sirens, the poles would be left intact for the county to utilize. However, Pavlik stated that after further communication with Constellation, this seems to not be the case, which led to confusion on why the power plant would spend the money to do so.
When the decommissioning process starts with Constellation, they'll take down that siren, and we'll be in charge of having to put it up. They will take down the pole, and that's part of that cost that's incurred.
But not if we take them over.
Well, they would still take down the pole anyway, based on what it is.
That's a question I discussed. I think they agreed to give it to us.
That's,
why would they do that?
It's just because they've had ownership of them, and as far as I can understand, I don't think they would just take down the siren head. I think it would be the whole structure.
If they take them down, they'll take down the whole structure. But if they gift them to the county, they just walk away and say, "Here, they're yours."
Yeah, that's the impression I was under too.
That was the impression I had, that they were willing to basically give.
Maybe that was a discussion a couple of years ago, but as far as what I am understanding from last Friday's meeting, it was be the whole structure.
Yeah,
I just find it hard to
discussion,
believe
but-
that Constellation would, if somebody was willing to take it over lock stock, they'd have to decommission it. They would, instead of paying to us, they would love to save $600,000.
With around a year and a half to make a decision, the committee did not take any action on the agenda item and requested that Pavlik find out more about Constellation's plan to decommission the poles as well as the siren heads. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
It's never too early to start thinking about back-to-school preparations. Part of getting your kids ready for the new school year means making sure they're healthy. SIU Center for Family Medicine is here to help with back-to-school and sports physicals. Healthy kids learn better and play harder. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine. Forward for you.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Illinois fell in its series opener at Indiana 10-4 on Thursday night at Bart Kaufman Field. Michael Farina and Nick Groves both posted 2-hit days at the top of the Illini lineup, while Groves added 2 RBIs. All 9 orange and blue hitters reached base in the defeat. J.R. Nelson was 1 for 3. Mitch Dye threw 4 innings in relief and struck out 4. Indiana jumped out early, plating a run in the home half of the first, and then 4 more in the second to make it 5-0. The next inning, Illinois plated a run on for a Farina sacrifice that scored Will Johannes, but Indiana responded with a run of their own to make it 6-1 after 3 innings. After 2 scoreless innings, the Indiana DH slammed a 3-run homer to left center to build a 9-1 lead. Nick Groves doubled to score Nelson and Daniel Contreras in the 7th, and then A.J. Putty scored on a Contreras ground out in the 8th to cut it to 9-4 before Indiana added an insurance run for the final tally. Illinois continues its 3-game road series at Indiana on Friday at 5 p.m. Randall Grichuk hit a 2-run homer and drove in 4 runs to lead the Chicago White Sox to their 5th straight win, 6-2 over the Kansas City Royals on Thursday night.
Bust out the brooms. When you're hot, you're hot. How about Will Venable plugging Randall Grichuk right into the cleanup spot Thursday night with Royals lefty Chris Bubich on the mound? Boy, it didn't take long to pay dividends as Grichuk liked what he saw with a man aboard in the bottom of the first.
2-2 coming, swinging a blast out into deep left center, and that baby will go.
And the G-Man was just getting started, licking his chops with ducks on the pond during his next at-bat in the 3rd.
And Grichuk smokes a line drive base hit out into center field. Here comes Mydroth. Right behind him, Vargas. He'll score.
White Sox swept the Royals right out of town en route to a 5th straight win, all at Rate Field. The Sox continue their season-long homestand Friday night with the crosstown rival Cubs. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 6 p.m. on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
The White Sox are back on WHOW all weekend long as they play a 3-game series with the crosstown rival Chicago Cubs. The series starts tonight with pregame at 6 p.m. Saturday's pregame starts at 5:30 p.m. and the series wraps up with an afternoon game on Sunday. Pregame for the final outing starts at 12:30 p.m. Ian Happ hit a long home run, and 5 Chicago Cubs pitchers combined for a 2-0 shutout of the Atlanta Braves on Thursday night, snapping a 4-game losing streak. Ben Brown made his second straight start after starting the season with 12 appearances out of the bullpen. He allowed just 1 hit in 4 innings and struck out 7 in 65 pitches. In his 2 starts, he has not allowed a run in 8 innings. Hobie Milner earned the win with 2 scoreless innings. Phil Maton and Jacob Webb each threw a scoreless frame, and Daniel Palencia struck out 2 in the 9th for his 3rd save. The Braves, who lead the majors in runs scored, were shut out for the 2nd time this season and had just 5 hits. Chris Sale allowed just 1 unearned run in 6 innings for the Braves as he worked around 5 hits and 2 walks. He had 8 strikeouts and left 6 Cubs on base. Happ's home run led off the 8th inning and traveled 424 feet to right field, bouncing off the side of the Chop House restaurant. It came off Ronaldo Lopez and extended the Cubs' lead to 2-0. Michael Busch was 1 for 3 with a single, extending his on-base streak to 15 games. The Cubs scored their first run thanks to an error by Braves shortstop Ha-Seong Kim in the 6th. With Happ on first, Seiya Suzuki hit a grounder to shortstop. In an effort to start a double play, Kim flipped the ball over the head of second baseman Ozzie Albies, putting runners on first and third. Matt Shaw's fielder's choice RBI scored Happ. Cubs right-hander Edward Cabrera will face White Sox righty Sean Burke in the opener of a 3-game road series on Friday against their crosstown rivals. Braves right-hander Spencer Strider will make his 3rd start of the season Friday against rookie Red Sox lefty Connolly Early in the opener of a 3-game series in Atlanta. Jordan Walker had a solo homer and drove in the go-ahead run in the 9th inning to lead the St. Louis Cardinals to a 5-4 win over the Athletics on Thursday. Trailing 4-3, Ivan Herrera tied the game with a single to left field that scored Thomas Saggese before Walker's double put the Cardinals ahead. Nick Kurtz opened the scoring in the 1st with a solo home run for the Athletics. Victor Scott II homered in the 5th to tie the game at 1-1. Walker added his 12th home run of the year in the 6th inning to put St. Louis ahead 2-1, and Nolan Gorman followed with a single to right field for a 3-1 lead. Matt Swanson pitched a scoreless 8th inning, giving up 1 hit and striking out 2. Michael McGreevy got the start and threw 6 innings, giving up 1 run on 5 hits while striking out 3. Zach Geloff homered for the 2nd consecutive day in the 7th, and Shea Langeliers hit a 2-run single to put the Athletics up 4-3 in the 7th. Jack Perkins had his 2nd blown save of the season in just 2/3 of an inning. Riley O'Brien picked up his 13th save, striking out 2 and allowing no hits. Athletics righty Aaron Savali gets the start at home against the Giants on Friday. St. Louis right-hander Dustin May starts against the Kansas City Royals at home on Friday. Roman Kantserov is joining the Chicago Blackhawks after a record-breaking season in the Continental Hockey League. The Blackhawks announced on Thursday that they had agreed to a 3-year contract with the 21-year-old Russian winger a second-round pick in the 2023 draft. The entry-level deal carries a $1,075,000 salary cap hit. Kantserov, listed at 5'9" and 176 pounds, led the KHL with 36 goals in 63 games this season with Metallurg Magnitogorsk. He also had 4 goals and 4 assists in 15 postseason games. Kantserov's 36 goals and 64 points were the highest single-season total for a player under the age of 22 in KHL history. The addition of Kantserov is a significant move for a franchise looking to climb out of a lengthy rebuilding project. Chicago also has the number 4 pick in the upcoming NHL draft. The Blackhawks went 29 and 39 and 14 this year, an 11-point improvement on the previous season, and still nowhere near playoff contention. They have finished number 31st in the NHL each of the last 3 years. The franchise has made just 1 postseason appearance since 2017, and that was the expanded playoff format after the 2019-20 season that was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. In MLB scores from yesterday, the Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Colorado Rockies 7-2, while the Cincinnati Reds routed the Washington Nationals 15-1. The New York Mets beat the Detroit Tigers 9-4, and the Minnesota Twins took down the Miami Marlins 9-1. The Milwaukee Brewers beat the San Diego Padres 7-1, while the Seattle Mariners beat the Houston Astros 8-3. The Philadelphia Phillies beat the Boston Red Sox 3-1, and the LA Dodgers took down the San Francisco Giants 5-2. In NHL postseason scores from last night, the Montreal Canadiens beat the Buffalo Sabres 6-3, and the Las Vegas Golden Knights beat the Anaheim Ducks 5-1. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days